Welcome to the official podcast of FCS Fans Nation with your hosts Kyler Neal, Matthew Frazee, and Jamie Williams.
FCS Fans Nation, a dynamic duo on a calm, non-stormy evening this Sunday. Welcome to the FCS Fans Nation podcast. The glorious, the wonderful Jamie Williams joining Matthew Frazee here. We are live because of timing, and that's going to make this way more fun. Jamie, what will make this not fun is our good, dear, close friend, Kyler Neal. Sadly, is not with us this evening, and are you okay holding this down as a duo for this week as we get into week one?
I think we can handle that. You know, Kyler got some family things going on in a positive way up in Washington. So we'll give him the week off, and he'll be back the next time around. But yeah, it's not like he would have had any good takes tonight or anything. He would just ripped probably about 3 or 4 different teams, which would have been fun.
Yeah, no, Kyler would never, especially in a live episode. We typically have just a beeper on standby, and thankfully we don't need to have that here this evening, which is good. I'm excited, dude. You and me just hanging out. This is just a duo thing. I was going to have the Rev on here. I was ready for it. I put out a tweet about NDSU quarterbacks. At the same time I send out that tweet for NDSU QBs, I was about to message the Rev, and then he retweeted that tweet and said that they were all busts. And then something happened, and I forgot to send the message. So now he's not here. Oh, man.
You lost your signal or something.
Darn. Yeah, I just lost my signal there. No, I love you, Rev, but I got to give you a little crap since you were talking smack on me. All right, FCS Fans Nation, let's kick into it. Week 0 was chaotic. And before we get into that, we want to talk a little bit about something that we just unveiled, just revealed this afternoon. We officially on Facebook, on Twitter, on all the socials put out there, that FCS Gold members are now eligible for something called the Survivor Pool, the FCS Survivor Pool. The link to be part of FCS Gold, which is $1 a month, will be in the YouTube description below. What is a Survivor Pool, you ask? Survivor Pool is pretty simple. It is for picking one game a week, one FCS team that you guarantee is going to win. And if you're right, you advance to the next week. But you cannot use that team a second time. You can't do it. Okay? That includes all the way to the national championship. So buyer beware. If you pick NDSU, Montana State, you might have thought Incarnate Word after a few days ago. If you pick some of the big hitters and you use them all up, if the semifinals hit and you've got nobody left, you're out. So here's the thing. You got to go across the FCS, picking one game a week. The winner gets a $50 Visa gift card from us to you. It should be a lot of fun. We've already had 5 more people jump on FCS Gold just to be a part of this thing, and we're really going to get the promotion out this week. The deadline is Friday, August 29th at midnight. At that point, we cannot accept you into the Survivor Pool Challenge. We will take you in FCS Gold, though, for ad-free podcasts and all that fun stuff. So, Jamie, what are you thinking? I took a cop-out. I took Tennessee Tech because they're playing something called Cumberland. Yes, that's a real school. And so I'm taking Tennessee Tech to guarantee to win this week in the Survivor Pool. Who are you thinking? What are your thoughts here?
Well, Matthew, you and everybody else who are picking FCS teams against these D1, D3, NAIA fools are cop-out cowards.
Come on.
Now, it's not a dumb play. We didn't set that as a rule. But damn it, pick FCS versus FCS games, people. Acknowledge the spirit of the game. But I guess, you play to win the game. I get it.
You play to win
That's
the
right.
game. It's a game of inches there, Jamie.
It is.
Life is
inches we need are everywhere.
Oh, well, it should be good. Hey, also, we're sponsored by Renegade Rehydration. Our good friend Dallas, his business. That link is in the description below. Make sure you toss him some of your likes. Jamie, any final thoughts before we kick into the top 6 topics, which week 0 gave us plenty?
One thing that I failed to do in either of our previous shows, and I'm very remiss to do it. I'm glad that I saw Anthony Knockreiner with a nice post. Yesterday, I am wearing my Hero Sports hat, and I want to take just a minute to remember Brian McLaughlin. We lost him earlier this year. Big FCS fan, good guy. Got a chance to meet him. Did some good work. Had a lot of interviews. Always was involved in the recruiting and touching base with coaches and players. Really plugged in. Really good guy. Gonna miss BMAC. So missed acknowledging that over the last couple of weeks. Anthony's post yesterday really reminded me that I meant to do that. So here, sports hat for BMAC. So just wanted to do that before we kicked it off.
Yeah, let's keep that going. Great shout out, Jamie. BMAC was constantly DMing us to say how proud he was of the stuff we put out there and how we could collaborate and work together. He's a great family man. And, one of those Pixar movies, they say you're never really gone unless your memory fades. And BMAC left such a legacy. No chance that memory fades anytime soon. So with that, nothing would honor him more than talking FCS football, the thing that he loved, a true passion. So let's get into those top 6 topics of the week.
What are FCS fans talking and posting about nonstop? It's time for the top 6 topics of the week.
Rolling right into it, Eric, FCS Gold provides us our questions again tonight. The fans are great. And Eric Kletke, great Montana State fan, says, what were your reactions to Nichols beating Incarnate Word, and how much will this affect on who wins the Southland? Boy, I pulled up Twitter probably 10 minutes into the game before I started watching clips and catching ESPN, and I could just tell right away something was off because, wow, Nichols comes out swinging. I hate to remind Andrew Markham and some of my good friends about Nichols beating Incarnate Word, but that was the game I got game passes for and visited them in Incarnate Word. And I tell you what, it almost brought me back to watching a similar style of game. Jamie, right off the bat, man, what are your reactions to a highly ranked Incarnate Word and Nichols coming in there and kind of taking a whooping to him?
Oh, boy. Kind of put Incarnate Word on fraud watch right away.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to Kevin and Stone this week, Stone picked Nichols as his special of the week. And, of course, I had to go on Twitter and clown him for it. He wound up right, and he didn't hit me back with as much crap as I thought he was going to. As much of a trash talker as he is, I expected a little bit more from him, but he was a little reserved, but he nailed that one. Richard Torres was really bad. Incarnate Word, from a defensive standpoint, was okay. I mean, their run defense was excellent. Nichols' defense, though, was really good. Torres threw 3 interceptions, took 4 sacks. He was really, really bad. I think Kilo waited a little too long to go to RJ Colson. I think we'll see him this week against Eastern Washington. I think Nichols has quarterback. Deuce Hogan looked pretty good. He was really good. Controlled that game. Solid, very solid game that he played yesterday. 221 and a touchdown. But a pick 6 from Torres. So the defense for Incarnate Word only allowed 13, but their offense couldn't get anything going. Anytime they got anywhere close, they couldn't do anything. I mean, the interception after interception. Now there was one play where, for me, the turning point towards the end where Incarnate Word was about to get back in the game, 4th down play, threw a beautiful pass, wide open receiver in the end zone, and it's a touchdown. And the Nichols defender read it, got back, and made a phenomenal play. But yeah, I mean, Incarnate Word, they did not look like a rankable team. And I would expect and hope that after, just by the way, there's no poll this week, but I would expect.
Yeah, that's important for people to know, isn't it?
I would expect, regardless of what Incarnate Word does this week against Eastern Washington, that team should not be anywhere near the top 15. There's going to be a massive shift in my poll. You almost kind of have to do, a look. The first little bit of the year, you've got to reassess every week. Rev likes to say that polls are useless for 4 weeks, and he's not necessarily wrong from a accuracy standpoint. It's a talking point. It gives us stuff to have fun with and talk about. But you're just guessing until the ball is put down and you see game action. And what we saw yesterday from Nichols was super impressive on both sides of the ball. And I don't know, it probably opened up in people's mind the Southland Conference because, they put themselves into the discussion Southeast Louisiana, people think would be good. People are really high on SFA. And if Incarnate Word is going to play like this, we'll see. Teams take their biggest jump from game 1 to game 2. So we'll see what kind of jump they make this week when they welcome in Eastern Washington.
Yeah. Honestly, to Eric's question, I kind of think to myself when I did a breakdown, I was watching the clips. I was watching the feedback. I was looking at Twitter. I was looking at the stats. I think it adds chaos to the Southland because there's no clear front runner. I think that's obvious, but I'm also going to ding Nichols here. I don't see anything impressive about Nichols' offense. Those statistics are terrible. You could argue turnovers are why they won that game. Maybe it's a 10, maybe it's a 10-3 game. Maybe it's a 10-6 game. Credit to the winners. You came out there, you won, you deserve it. Nichols could win the Southland. I'll take all the smack in the world. Their defense looked great, but there's nothing impressive about that offensive output. Just looking down at 66 rushing yards for him.
Deuce Hogan was excellent. I thought he managed that game well. He did what they needed him to do. He did what Pat McQuaid couldn't do for them in the past, and he did what Pat McQuaid will not do for Villanova this year. Deuce Hogan is going to be serviceable. I think Nichols has found their quarterback and nothing else, but they do got to find a run game.
Yeah, the run game was not there, and it sounds weird to beat up on the winner, but I also don't want to overreact to Nichols of people like, well, now they need to be ranked top 10 and they need this. Well, if Incarnate Word's bad, Nichols doesn't need to jump all the way to the top. And
if you're going to rank Incarnate Word still, for whatever reason, you have to rank Nichols, even if Incarnate Word smacks Eastern Washington at this point early in the season. I'm not sure that either one will be, but the results will tell that story from all of the games as we see what teams actually are come week 1 here.
I also don't want to. It's so fun on Twitter to just send that tweet and get all those hearts in the moment. The idea that Incarnate Word can't figure out or adjust the quarterback and adjust whatever they have to offensively, do we not give any credit to their defense as well? 3 turnovers.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Still holding the 20. That's still a good defensive effort from Incarnate Word. Here's my whole point.
Yeah, defense gave up 13.
Yeah, honestly, defense only gave up 13 points. So here's what I'm going to say. I bet Incarnate Word fans are mad at me for what I said. Nichols fans are definitely pissed because I just tore them apart after their big win. I don't think this tells us, to Eric's question, that it tells us the Southland will be very undecided and there's a lot left to figure out. Unlike Tarleton State, which is just like, wow, they kind of looked the part against a bad team and did what they were supposed to. This left me very confused, and I think there's going to be a lot of adjustment by Incarnate Word. And I think Nichols certainly isn't going to coast through a Southland that's going to give them some competition from SFA and the others. So that's kind of my takeaway from it. And I don't know. I think there's just going to be more to come in this department. Do you think that Incarnate Word looks at quarterback adjustment right away?
They have to. RJ Colson has to start this week, and they got to see what they got. If he's terrible, then Kello can decide if he needs to go back to Torres. And I think Torres probably, obviously, clearly won that job throughout spring and through the camp because I can't remember who the other quarterback was that they had in there that transferred because he got beat out by Torres. But they didn't go to Colson until like the last drive, and he moved the ball a little bit, but obviously not enough to really do anything. But they've got to go to Colson this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the coaches decided to do. By the way, Kyler, who's dedicated to this whole thing, he sent us a script of everything he would want to say to the questions. This one's pretty simple, Eric. He says, I said last week, Incarnate Word stinks. That is Kyler Neal's only reaction. And but he didn't write this, but our good friends Zach and Andrew know that we all love you guys, regardless of what happens with your football team. Speaking of football teams, some of them only play 3 quarters, and that has left FCS Fans Nation in a loop. As you know, our episode tonight is talking about lightning, and lightning and storms were the problem for Mercer and UC Davis, which we were robbed due to Mother Nature of one of the greatest, probably week 0 games that was coming down to the wire. 8 minutes left in the 4th. The game gets canned because of weather. And the question comes from Taco King Brian Thompson, and it's on top of that is Jim Poppin. Brian says Mercer and UC Davis are now 1 division game short, and without a quality win, will that bite one of them in the butt later during playoff selections? Jim Poppin also asked about the seeding implications in November. So before we go way down the line and kind of go down the rabbit hole of that history, Jamie, give me your thoughts in terms of should this have just been no. We can't ask that because that's a question coming to quick hits. Let's go down the rabbit hole. How does this affect seeding? Go for it.
How does it affect seeding? All right, so I'm going to give just a one PSA real quick on when I talk about seeding on this podcast throughout this whole year. I understand that the polls don't use, or that the committee doesn't use any polls in their reasoning for how they're going to seed and establish teams. It's what I'm going to use most of the time because those are the things that lead to resume. And I'm just strictly going to talk resume throughout the whole season. PSA right now. One of these teams lost a ranked win. And the right answer was not to just declare UC Davis the winner either. Mercer had the ball, 1st and 10, and all the momentum. Mercer, I feel like Mercer was going to come back and win that game. So how does it affect the seedings? It might affect if one of these teams gets into the playoffs. If you wind up with 7 or 8 wins down at the end of the year and you're not a conference champion, you're going to be sweating, and you would have wished you would have had this game. Both teams had a real chance to really notch a win in week 0 that they will start to hang their hat on for their resume by the time the end of the season gets here. The other thing, kind of, we'll call it, what do the kids call it now, low key?
Yeah, you got that one right.
They may have, this game may have cost potentially Caden Pinnick a chance at the Jerry Rice Award, or maybe it established him as a guy to watch for the Jerry Rice Award because he was really good.
200 total yards.
None of his stats count.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
They wiped out all of the stats.
Are you telling FCS?
It's like this never happened.
Are you telling FCS Fans Nation, everyone listening to this podcast, that those statistics for those players will not count because of that delay?
It's like neither team showed up in Montgomery.
That is outrageous.
Nothing happened. I saw, when I was watching that game, I saw quite a few players laying on the field because they needed to be tended to, but their injuries didn't happen either, apparently.
Oh my gosh, ridiculous.
It just sucked. I don't know how long that storm held out last night. I went to sleep, but the cell just sat over Montgomery. It never freaking moved. I was looking at it thinking, oh, this is going to move here soon. This is going to move here soon. And it's just, to me, stop playing this stuff at the neutral sites. If you're going to play it, just play it at Mercer or UC Davis and call it the FCS 100%. Kickoff. I mean, 100%. The stands were empty before the weather. But yeah, how does it affect them? Big time. It affects them big time. And not only the teams themselves, but potentially Caden Pinnick too. And I thought he was really good and had started his career off quite well, filling in for Hastings, or taking over for Hastings after he was an excellent quarterback for UC Davis. And Tim Plow had the team ready. Mike James got his team motivated at halftime, and it was a tale of two halves. And I feel like Mercer was about to drive in and take the lead and potentially win that game. It's awful.
Yeah, for sure. And Mercer was coming back. UC Davis also missed 2 field goals. So like there were some things that happened in that game, which, maybe they could have stretched a little further. It's impossible to tell. You'll never know if Mercer was going to come back. Would Pinnick have made some crazy play? You're not going to know. But the worst part about this is that it's going to affect them long term. What was interesting to me was, what do you think of UC Davis, Jamie? That's my question here. Because when you think of Mercer, people are thinking of a top-touted, top-pick SoCon team, right? Like that was what we were thinking of Mercer going into the season. And if that was true, how are they holding up against one of the top 4 Big Sky teams? Like, you know what I mean? Does that implicate the SoCon a little bit? That's how I want to look at it more of, are we going to see the same quarterfinal SoCon team get there and then their best effort comes against the team that's not even top tier Big Sky? Or am I overthinking this?
I think what I saw from those teams was about what I expected. A little bit more from UC Davis than I thought. I wound up picking them after a little bit more research. I thought they looked really good in the first half. Mercer's calling card last year was its defense, and that's what it was. Last night, their offense was okay. DJ had to slow start getting going, but they got the ball rolling a little bit. Andrew Zock was disruptive, made quite a few plays. But yeah, I saw about what I expected from both teams. I have UC Davis. I have them as the fourth best Big Sky team, but rated number 12. I had Mercer. Where the hell did I have Mercer? I had Mercer at 11. So I had 11 versus 12. And that looked like about the team we were going to get.
Yeah, it was about as close as those two teams were going to make it. So that's crazy. Yeah, I just think it's going to be interesting to see from here on out how good can these teams make their resumes, because how many more opportunities are going to get? If you're UC Davis, you're going to get a lot more because you're in the Big Sky. But when you look at their schedule just moving forward, obviously they're going to play their FBS game. They're going to get some of their easy ones in, but they're going to play at Idaho. They get Sacramento State at the end at home, but who knows what Sac State looks like at that point in terms of being ranked. They go to Montana State. They do not have a lot of opportunities. Idaho State, Northern Arizona could be a good game, but Cal Poly, Weber, Northern Carolina, Southern Utah, an FBS matchup, like this one could have been huge for them. And Mercer's in the same boat. So
Mercer's worse because they only have outside of their SoCon games, which will be a competitive SoCon. Yep. They play Presbyterian this week, and then their other non-conference game is Auburn.
Egregious. It's egregious
That's not great.
I don't know.
And, they do play Princeton, but I also don't think Princeton's going to be very good this year. So Mercer needed this one. They needed it. So now they've got to win the SoCon.
Before we move out of this one, I have kind of a dumb question. Would it be better for, I'll just say Mercer, since they were behind. Would it be better for Mercer to have lost this game on their resume than the no contest? Like, let's say UC Davis is the 7 seed. Does that help them? It's kind of a dumb question.
It's hard to say because I hate talking about good losses when we're talking about a resume. Okay. If you have to talk about a team's good losses, they're not good enough to get whatever level you're trying to argue for, if your argument is a good loss. So 6 of one, half dozen the other, really. They both suck for them.
I mean, every time NDSU loses, I suddenly care about good losses. There's something about them that it just gets really important to me, just out of nowhere, out of left field. Boy. Well, we'll see how it affects both these teams, and we will see how the FBS handles FCS opponents next week. We got a little bit of insight to that with a very surprising final score. And Derek wants to ask us, was Idaho State's performance a sign that they're turning the corner and ready for a good year, or just a fluke result against a completely new UNLV team? That is Derek's question for this one. That one went really close all the way into the fourth quarter, and UNLV just pulled off a upset, I kid, of Idaho State. So what do you think, Jamie? My brother-in-law is born and raised from Vegas. He's a huge UNLV fan, mainly because of their basketball program. But he said that they were going to royally suck this year. He said they would be really good last year, and he wasn't wrong. They were much improved. He said this is going to be huge turnover, really bad. Kyler Neal says that literally he thinks Idaho or UNLV would basically be a bottom 5 Big Sky team this year. So I don't mean to downplay Idaho State's performance, but should we manage expectations of what they could be moving forward?
I think what I saw from Idaho State made me think they were accurately ranked by me when I put them at 43 and not down in the 60s, which a moderate improvement from last year. But, with a new defensive coordinator, they still gave up a ton of yards. But again, it is still an FBS team, no matter how bad that team is. So I try not to use FBS result for an FCS team one way or the other too harshly or to pump them up too much. It was a good result. I mean, Jordan Cook threw for 380 yards. Dason Brooks ran for 132 at 7.3 yards a carry. So the offense is good. You would expect Idaho State would have a decent offense. They needed a massive improvement on defense. We'll see what they've got. They still gave up 300 yards on the ground, 230 in the air. They do have a new defensive coordinator through a couple new wrinkles. Dan Hawkins is on staff. So it's a well-coached football team. But I don't know that we learned a ton that says Idaho State's going to threaten the top 6 of the Big Sky and threaten for a playoff spot. But let's see how they back up a nice performance on offense this week when they go down to Cedar City and play against a a Southern Utah team that's hungry, that they really put the screws to last year against Southern Utah, which probably kept Southern Utah out of the playoffs. So Crazy Criminal right there just said the exact correct thing. Too many turnovers for the Bengals quarterback. He threw 3 interceptions. Another guy threw 1. So they threw 4 interceptions. You can't have that. So he's exactly right, or she. I don't want to assume that we only have male viewers.
The thing is like these quarterbacks on these games this week are just costing their teams the game, whether it's a Garnet Word, whether it's Idaho State. And I don't see Idaho State being a nearly high tier or successful program in the Big Sky this year.
Yeah.
Montana's going to be much improved. Montana State's going to be good, obviously. UC Davis looked all their part of what we expect out of them. You've got up-and-comers like Sacramento State, others. Northern Arizona should be highly competitive. I don't see, to answer this question specifically, I don't see Idaho State being anything special within the Big Sky. Maybe they have a kind of a semi-improved team. I also think UNLV is trash and really bad. So
both can be true. They're going to be improved, but not improved enough to really make a dent. I mean, you can't throw an interception on what was supposed to be, I believe, a fade route that wasn't a fade route that he just threw to the defender. You can't throw that interception in a tie game. I mean, you're going in to take the lead. I think they took the lead on one play and had a holding call. So too many execution mistakes. But they did some things well. Just still not quite ready to take that step, but get some credit for a little bit of improvement, just not quite enough.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some improvement then, because if there are teams that we feel like we're going to talk about more in the future, this is definitely one of them. I was very excited to talk about them. Is Tarleton State a flash in the pan, or will they be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time? That's what Jason Soren wants to know. Kyler, we'll start with his comment here. Kyler said, I ranked them high. They have the best team in the South. Still not going to compete with the top 4, but can go toe-to-toe with everybody else. That's kind of where my gut goes a little bit. Jamie, he's looking down right now, so we don't know if Rev is paying attention, but he's on the screen, and I'm bringing him in because the Rev, we're now talking Southern teams down here in his area. He's talking smack to Sam Houston fans. And
he's probably going to talk back about Tarleton, so it's probably a good time to bring him in.
I was actually typing my comment.
Transition time. If you guys don't watch the Seth Lund sermon, you are missing out. Rev, get right to it. Is Tarleton State a flash in the pan, or will they be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time? I align with Kyler here. I think they're far from a flash in the pan. What do you got?
I don't think they're a flash in the pan. I think they're good. I think they're going to stumble somewhere in the UAC schedule this year. And I think folks remember that last year they should have lost to Southern Utah. It would be, they should have, right? Like, it's just one of those things that will happen. They've got Gabalis back. They're running back.
Adonis?
Yeah, Adonis. Their running back is amazing, and he's a freshman. He was probably only going to be there for a year, and he's probably going to get picked up by somebody in the FBS because he's that good. So, yeah, I don't think they're a flash in the pan. I think they'll be a playoff team. They're not going to be a top 4. They'll probably be a top 8 seed unless they lose 2 in the United, which I don't think is going to happen. Their schedule works really well for them this year. And I really think a true testament is how they're going to be against Army on Friday. That's going to be a fun game to watch. So I think they keep that close, or they get the scalp. Then yeah, they're definitely one to give them more props to. But no, they're not a flash in the pan.
My thing, Rev, is what I want to bounce off what you just said. I think Tarleton State can do damage and be like past a quarterfinal team if they can line up the postseason at their venue. If you have a sold-out Tarleton State playoff environment down in Texas, what's that hold? 20,000 plus fans, excited, rowdy fan base, and they're home and comfortable. And you have to send some of the big hitters, your Montana States, your others. Someone has to go down there. I do think you possibly can see some sort of Sam Houston style of result. I don't see why you couldn't. But you got to look down at their schedule. So what are they capable of? Who knows what happens at Army, but Mississippi Valley State win. At Central Arkansas, I'm going to say win. Chattanooga should be a good game. We'll see. Southern Utah, also a good game. But then Utah Tech, West Georgia, Eastern Kentucky, Abilene Christian, North Alabama, Austin Peay. if they are what we think they are in terms of a top 8 team, not saying top championship team, but top 8, they could run that table. They could run the table besides Army. And could that get them the 5 seed? Could get them the 4 seed? Could NDSU lose 2 games this year? Could South Dakota State be bad, lose 3 games this year? Could Montana State, is there enough to where they end up in that top 4 seed range and sit at home and find their way through? I think if they end up on the road and they go to USD, they can put up good fights and lose. But we know how important home playoff advantage is, and they have talent. They've got great coaching. They've got great support. I think Tarleton State has an opportunity, like Incarnate Word in their one year when they went to Fargo and others, to put yourself in a position to go get there. But it has to happen in the regular season. Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not a flash in the pan. They were good last year. They're building on that. They still have Gabalis, which means they have a returning quarterback, which a lot of teams don't have. And that's really important. And I think you're going to see that earlier in the season. They ran for 301 yards. Trey Page wasn't even supposed to be the starter, I don't believe. I believe it was supposed to be Tylen Hines. And I believe he got hurt at some point. But Page, I mean, he ripped off 2 long runs, 28 and 89, like right away. So, I mean, they ran for 300 yards. And it's not like, oh, okay, you get a shutout. That's phenomenal. So that's it doesn't matter. You play in an FCS team, you get a shutout on the road. That's excellent. But what they did is what I always ask a team that thinks they're a top team to do. Go do what you're supposed to do against a bad team, and that's exactly what they did. Even they started slow. They fumbled on their first possession, missed a field goal, a little bit sloppy, but they just, once they got rolling, they were good to go. I mean, Gabalis didn't have to do anything. He did just what he needed to do, and a lot of that meant just turn around and giving it to the guy behind him. But, yeah, I mean, Tarleton, pretty impressive, and I think y'all know I was not as high on them last year. But I'm a lot higher on them this year. I've got them at 8 entering the season, and I think they showed their every bit of that and maybe a touch more. They're not going to be top 4, I don't believe, as far as those teams go. But there's a lot to like there right now, and they're building in the right direction. And they had to replace a lot, so don't sleep on Tarleton.
Yeah, when you look at their conference schedule, there's a lot of questions in the United this year. They didn't have a lot of coaching changeover. In fact, I don't think they had any coaching changeover, but they did have some player movement, right? Abilene Christian's got a new quarterback because McElroy is beating up on Sam Houston, Western Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky's got new folks as well. You got Western Georgia, who was a great D2 school coming in, and they could easily be competitive right away.
They were in the fourth quarter last year. West Georgia was within a score against a lot of teams. They're just kind of like an FCS played an FBS. They just lost off of some of that depth, but they were in a lot of games. So that's a team.
And then Central Arkansas is probably going to Central Arkansas. So, it really is set up for them to run that table. And if they do, depending upon the other stuff, the other intangibles they can't control, it would be hard to say, hey, the team that's undefeated and united with only an FBS loss to Army, it would be hard to keep them out of the top 4.
Now, I'm with you guys in terms of like the schedule is going to dictate their success on the regular season schedule. I think that's the vibe we have from all 3 of us, which is, we think they're good. We think they're bringing good talent back. They did what they were supposed to in week 0, but just like Incarnate Word, just like Nichols, I'm not going to overreact to what we see in week 0. I'm not going to overreact to what we see in week 1. Things are bound to change. You never know what's going to happen. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about who we thought at least looked the part yesterday. And we might have just talked about him. I don't know. But if you're watching on YouTube here, we're pulling up on the screen all the week 0 games. And I'm going to toss it to you right away, Jamie. Which week 0 team looked the best yesterday? Jeremiah Rash, the best Southern Illinois fan on the planet. Sorry to others. What do you think? Who was the best one out of what you saw? And we'll see if you steal mine.
I'm going to take this 2 different ways. From a complete team standpoint, it was Tarleton. Just to get a shutout on the road, doing what you're supposed to do against a team like that with that run game. Really impressive. Really set the tone for them. I think Rev hit the nail on the head when he said, let's see what they look like against an FBS team. You don't want to judge a season, like I said earlier, off of what they do against the FBS team. But if they can give Army fits, there's going to be some things to look at. And then the second way I'm going to take this is what was most impressive to me overall was Nichols' defense.
Yeah.
I talked about how bad Richard Torres was, but a lot of that was what Nichols did. They really got after him. They forced those turnovers, stopped the drives when they needed to. They had the 3 turnovers, but they also stopped them on, I think, 2 extra other 4th downs. So that's 2 more turnovers, so to speak. So really impressed with the Nichols defense overall there, and then the Tarleton as a full team. That's where I was looking when you look at most impressed yesterday.
And Rev, what do you got?
Well, I mean,
the same answer, or what do you have?
Yeah, I wasn't in for the conversation about Nichols and Carter Ward, but yeah, it's really hard to go against Nichols' defense. They looked great, but I think a team that may not have gotten as much attention, North Carolina Central absolutely demolished Southern.
Dang it, Rev! I should have kept you in the background. I had the stats pulled up. I had everything. I was about to talk about how 10 receivers touched the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready.
Well, here, I'll let you talk about that. My favorite stat for the whole game is Mosley, right? So Mosley averaged 4.5 yards before he got touched. That means that he was in the linebackers before he got touched for the first time. But they
offensive line play there.
Yeah, that was offensive line all over Southern's defensive line.
Which is impressive when they have Skelby Givens too. So
yes,
they were able to game plan to make that
and I think
neutralize him a little bit.
I think he got pancaked like 5 times.
So.
like insane. North Carolina Central came out. So I will just say that. So Matt, you can finish off with the rest of the stats on that.
No, you called it good. If you just look, okay, so a little breakdown to how I got to North Carolina Central, not just for shock value of like, oh my gosh, you went off the beaten path. It's pretty simple to me. I wasn't impressed by Nichols' offense, and Cardinal Word looked bad. I'm not impressed by anything against UNLV. And Tarleton State, that one is yes, but it's too easy. Portland State sucks. And then the other two, they both look pretty good, half versus half. But overall team, NC Central looked the part. For the HBCU schools specifically, everyone better be on alert in terms of what they could pull off. Walker Harris, 19 for 24. So a very effective passing day. I love to see that. When you see a team that runs for 6.6 yards rushing average, and like you said, Chris Mosley's 174 of them, but you get a touchdown on your backup running back for 35 yards. That means you got a little bit of lightning, a little bit of thunder, and then 10 receivers touch the ball, and Southern started quick. And then it just flipped the script into that second quarter, 31-14 final. I think North Carolina Central really came out strong, and I think I'm excited to see how they do moving forward. And one of these days we're going to get to the Celebration Bowl. We keep talking about it, and I really was impressed by the Eagles, and I hope to see them be successful the rest of the way out. And I sound way too excited about North Carolina Central, but that's okay because they're a great team and they're great fans. And Dustin, the Rev, this is your own question.
I think that was Dustin Perman, not.
Oh no, that was Perman. That was me.
You're right. You're right.
We had 46 other questions from Rev, but this isn't.
Hey, listen, I tried to
Dustin
help you all
Perman,
out.
I owe you 4 beers. I should never comp you to the Rev. You are way cooler than him.
Agreed.
As much as I love the Rev. Dustin Perman says, "What's the most exciting upcoming Week 1 game?" Here's a great one. Okay, Jamie, what is getting you ready to go for next week? This is at full slate. Who do we have?
All right, I'm not going to go with the easy one. That's the biggest one. I'm not going to go with that because I'll let one of y'all hit that one if you want. And if you don't, we can circle back to it. But I have 2 that I have my eye on that I think will have implications down the road in a couple of different ways. The first one right away at noon, Richmond against Lehigh. Richmond's first game as a Patriot League team. We expect both of these teams to be competing for the Patriot League title. Rematch right away from first round of the playoffs to where Lehigh came to Richmond and won that game. Darn, hate that for the Spiders, really do. Hate to see it. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that actually happens. And heck, folks, you actually can watch Richmond now because they're not on Flow, so that's kind of cool. And then the other is a CAA SoCon matchup between 2 teams that I think want to think they're potential playoff teams, William & Mary and Furman. Don't think either one of them are, but they can both kind of show what they might be. I was at this game last year in Williamsburg, and it was solid. William & Mary won a moderately sloppy game. So we'll see if either team is improved this year. Those are the two I'm really looking at outside of the big one late in the day. But if one of y'all wants to take that one, I'll leave that up there since I went first.
I'll take the easy steal. It was going to be my answer, and I've talked about it. I can't believe as a Bison fan, but I hope South Dakota State wins by a bunch. It's got to be Sacramento State, South Dakota State, right? You got a Sacramento State team with all those transfers, all that hype, calling us JV, whatever. And but they're ranked, right? They're ranked. They're up there. They're one of those Big Sky teams where you're going to say, are they UC Davis, the 4th, 5th range? Could they compete with the Montanas? I mean, what if they come out and win that game? I don't see it happening, but who knows? I
think they've got a better chance to win that game than a lot of people want to give them credit for. We'll see. They've got a quarterback that was a 4-star, and I hate talking about stars. So I can't believe I just said it. But Jaden Rashada was highly recruited. He's a solid quarterback. Going to step in and run that go-go offense that Brennan Marion has. I think they're going to have some success. It's Chase Mason's finally getting his shot to start and not just be, a spot guy and a package guy, and we'll see what he's got. I want to see. So there's a lot of intrigue in that game. I think a lot of people think South Dakota State's just going to run over Sacramento State. And while if you ask me to pick, I probably pick the Jackrabbits. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think.
All right. I'm excited to see how it plays out. And yeah, Chase Mason was my X factor there too. How do these bunnies look with massive turnover? Will look same old? I don't know. We're going to have to see. Rev, before we get out of the top 6 topics here, who are you pumped to watch in week 1?
One of them I'm going to in person, and it's Eastern Washington at Incarnate Word. I think it'll be fun to see what Eastern Washington can do, but also can Incarnate Word bounce back after what happened in Thibodaux. And, and I think it really there at that point does become do we hit the panic button or not in San Antonio, basis upon that game. And usually you don't hit the panic button in week 1, but if you lose the Nichols and lose the Eastern Washington back-to-back weeks, then you have a problem.
Hey, Rev, on that game, in your opinion, because Incarnate Word, I'm sure you'll talk a lot about this on your show this week.
I'm not running a show this week, so this is my time to do it.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm out of town.
All right, so no sermon this week. Pray to yourselves with our, do your self-reflection. When you look at Incarnate Word, even if they win this game close, or at what point are they nervous? 10-point win, if they only win by a score, what do they need to do, in your opinion, for people to say, okay, they kind of had a bad game and they reset and they're still going to be a team to look forward to a potential playoff berth? What does that got to look like for you?
They got to have a multiple score win, 14 or more, honestly, because I think they're going to get put under the magnifying glass, probably more so than any other team, because of just the expectation versus the result, the hype around Torres, and then the fact that he was, so still in the pocket, you could have probably skipped a rock off of him because he did not move. There's just so much concern, especially when you have an offense that has weapons. You got, Spears, you got great wide receiver core, but yet you couldn't move the ball. So they're going to be scrutinized. They rightfully so should be scrutinized after that performance. And so, yeah, they've got to probably win by 14 or more. And even then, I think there's a lot of folks who are still probably going to doubt them unless they go the rest of the way this season without losing. What the problem is they've got some teams on their schedule that have very stout defenses. And that was Incarnate Word's struggle last year. I honestly think had SFA had a healthy Sam Vidlac, they would have beat Incarnate Word and Nacogdoches because SFA's defense absolutely owns Zach Calzada. So, and it's just a historic thing with them. So that's the thing you have to watch. You have to look at what sort of defense is going to be brought, and can Eastern Washington play stout enough defense to give them fits? And can Eastern Washington handle San Antonio on Labor Day weekend when it's probably going to be 95 degrees? And,
to be crude, UIW is kind of a butterface if Torres is the face.
It's like a Monet. They look good from far away, but the closer you get and examine, it just splotches. Right. The other game, and this is just because it's local, it's fun. It's always fun to watch. Prairie View and Texas Southern is this weekend. Oh, yeah. That is always a fun game to watch.
Always the first.
Yep. Get the bands out, get your popcorn ready. It's going to be a blast to watch. I think Prairie View's been picked to win the SWAC West. So
some people are picking them to win the SWAC West. Yeah, Prairie View should have an improved team. I think the SWAC West is wide open. So this will be fun.
Yep.
Wow, week 1's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be great. We're hungry for football. We need some more. We're always hungry on this show, folks.
I am hungry.
Taco King, coming to you from bright and sunny Fargo, North Dakota. It's time for a taco bet, and time for you losers to pay up.
Taco King, and here we go, Brian Thompson. Here we go. This isn't from Brian. It's from Mr. JC, Montana State fan extraordinaire. He says, do the Cats... Oh, wait. No, on this live show, I didn't edit this. Ha! We already did this taco
That's
bet.
Brian's terrible question from last time.
What the heck, Brian? Don't worry, I'll edit it. Do the Cats cover the spread at Oregon? 29.5. Let me show this. So 29.5 is what JC wants to know. Here you go. That's exactly where the line sits, where we are. Now, I think this one's going to be interesting, and I love this one for the taco bet from Jay because we saw Idaho and we saw Oregon last year. So everyone's going to be thinking, ooh, this might happen again. What do you think, Rev? Over under 29.5 points for Oregon to beat Montana State. What do you got? That's a huge spread.
Oof. I'm gonna take the over. I think. I don't know. You know, Oregon's usually most years looks really, really good. I mean, so, and I'm kind of should see what Montana State has this year. So I think safely I'm going to take the over on that.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you because it's not good teams win. Great teams cover the spread. I'll go a 28-point loss, just barely. Something happens. Montana State, Oregon's got like the third defense in, you know? Like these guys have just stepped out there and they're probably still better. But that being said, a late touchdown, something ruins everybody's day. And I'll take the under. What do you got, Jamie?
Yeah, I think Vegas knows what they're doing. This is a pretty good line. Like you said, if they start putting in the scrubs, as they call it, third, fourth stringers, it could get tight. But I think Oregon's going to have enough. I mean, Montana State's breaking in a lot of new faces and new places. I mean, they've got a lot back. They got an excellent offensive line. So maybe they'll be able to hold it down. But 28-35 sounds about right. So I'll just barely take the over and be more than happy to be wrong. I'd like to see them show a little something.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Oregon's an excellent team. It's an excellent program. So there's no shame, and we'll learn nothing from that game.
Yeah, exactly.
COVID took away my ability to see the Bison and Trey Lance get a shot at Oregon. I got to wait till 2028. So I'm envious of you Montana State fans. Enjoy the trip. I hope it's fun. And let's get to some quick hits.
Just because your question is answered quickly doesn't mean we don't care. It's time for this week's quick hit questions.
It is hilarious that the Rev is with us because I posted after we had like 5 or 6 questions. I posted on the regular page. I said, hey, we need like probably 5 more quick hit questions. So somebody toss them at us. And then Rev comes out of left field and just posted like 6. And I just copied them, deleted the post, and said, this will work.
Let's use them all.
I didn't even plan to be here. Like I got the Rev signal, and I was like, I guess I need to be.
We'll have those flowing here, man. Okay, but it does start with one of your regular questions. And with quick hits, we do answer anything and everything under the sun. And the Rev wants to know, when you were a kid, what was your dream car, Jamie? That's what he's curious about. I never had a dream car until I joined the Marines in California.
It's a Humvee.
I saw on the street a Daytona Blue Nissan 350Z, and I thought it was the coolest little sports car. So that was my initial first dream car, but I wasn't until I was 19 years old. I never had one growing up. So, Jamie, what do you got?
1969 Dodge Charger.
Holy cow.
I wanted it to be orange. I did not want a Confederate flag on top, but I love the Dukes of Hazzard, and that car was a badass car, and that's what I wanted. Yeah. So to this day, I still want to get a Charger before I die. My wife has said that at some point I could. Her other observation, by the way, and she was exactly right. We were watching Nichols in Incarnate Word, and I'm just going to tell the story because it's our show and we can do that. The way ESPN Scorebook set up, it sucked because she was rooting for Nichols because she knew they were the underdog. But then she kept cheering for the white team because the way the scorebook looked is Incarnate Word had the red background and Nichols had the white. And for somebody who doesn't watch a bunch of FCS teams, that was very confusing. It threw me there for a second when I first started watching until I really started looking. I was like, oh, wait, that's UIW on the white uniform. So ESPN's got to fix their score bug. I had to work that in. She was dead right. We were trying to play cards and watch the game. It was very confusing.
I love that. I love what Jamie's like. Probably 4 hours ago, he's like, I don't care if it's about a car or football. I'm going to complain about that damn.
I just forgot to bring it up when we talked about that game, but it popped into my head. But so yeah, I had to answer the question. But yeah, that was an easy one for me when I saw that pop up. That's the car I've always wanted.
Too good. Rev, what do you got?
Oh, when I was a kid, it was obviously a 67 Mustang. That was always the dream. And then my first car I ever had was a 1973 Dodge Dart Swinger. And
there you go.
That was such a sick car. I still dream about that car. If I could find it again, I would so buy it. And it was jet black with a white racing stripe, but it went across the trunk like a Band-Aid instead of down the car. It was the ugliest car I've ever owned, but I loved that car to death.
Very cool. Love it. Let's hear your knee-jerk reactions from week 0, also coming from the Rev. What do you think, Jamie? What's the knee-jerk reaction?
Knee-jerk reaction is that it sucks that they didn't get that UC Davis-Mercer game finished. I think we got robbed of an excellent finish and a game that we really would have looked forward to talking about. Instead, we got to talk about how much it sucked. And like I said, I don't know what the logistics were, but I would have loved to see that game finish. Nichols' defense, excellent. Richard Torres, not great. NC Central, really good. Tarleton did what they needed to do. There's just some quick knee jerks.
Why not call NC Central a Celebration Bowl participant and champs? Why not?
Because I still like South Carolina State in the MEAC a little bit. I think that's going to be a great game when they play, and we'll see. I mean, South Carolina State does have a bowl-winning quarterback at the helm, so don't forget that.
That's gonna be my knee-jerk reaction, though. I love what I saw, so I'm gonna go with the Eagles. They're gonna take it this year. Celebration Bowl champs. Rev, you got a knee-jerk reaction?
No, I will say though that the North Carolina Central and South Carolina State game, the game kickoff time sucks. It's like at 5 o'clock on a Friday, which is crap.
Oh, that's awful.
It's awful. Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, it's in Durham, I think, and it's awful. But no, knee-jerk reaction. Tarleton State looked good, but also they played Protesta State University, so they've actually got a. I want to see this how they do against a bit stiffer competition. North Carolina
Central
Central
played Sul Ross.
Yeah, should have just played Sul Ross. Hey, that's who Rio Grande Valley opens with on Saturday.
That's right.
So let's see. I mean, I think you about nailed them. Idaho State, I think it's too early to judge how good they are because UNLV sucks. That's my other knee-jerk reaction.
Easy enough. This one's coming your way, Jamie, and then the next one definitely going to you, Rev, so we can get your opinion from earlier. Jamie from Tim Rask, should they have canceled the Mercer Davis game or called it with the score as it was? What should they have done there?
They definitely should not have called it at the score as it was. You can't award or win there. That doesn't work. I wish I knew the logistics. I think my guess is UC Davis had to get back across country for classes or whatever. They're still student athletes here in the FCS, even though there's still some NIL. I would have loved for them to be able to, hey, let's come to the Crampton Bowl at 10 a.m. Sunday morning and finish this game off. I wish that would have happened. Otherwise, you do have to call it a no contest. I would have liked them to keep the stats, though.
Okay.
If nothing else.
Rev, Cody Werlinger wants to know, and Dustin Perman adds on to this, is Incarnate Word overrated or is Nichols better than we thought? Nichols' defense looks to be legit again this year, says Cody. And Dustin says, can Incarnate Word gel and overcome a rough start? So your chance to speak on this Incarnate Word game and what you saw out of it.
Okay, the answer to the first question is neither. I don't necessarily think you say they're overrated. I still think right now, when you look at the scope of the FCS, Incarnate Word is a top 25 team. Maybe not 4th or 5th like people had them. I know a certain person had them in the teens at 11th. That may not be a bad place. And to that point, yeah, I think they can overcome that because of what I know about Incarnate Word. But also, Nichols is built on defense. They've always been the swamp people defense. That's what they do the best in Thibodeau. They get defensive players that can go in and wreck shop. Their offense has always been run heavy, and they lost Guggenheim and they lost Spears, and so they're having to kind of rebuild their offense. So is Nichols a bad team? No. Are they going to win the Southland? No. Both those things are true. And yeah, I think Incarnate Word will have the opportunity to rebuild, but they really do need to take a look at their quarterback room and look at what Torres was doing wrong and get that fixed before they put him back out in the pocket. Because if they don't, they're going to be mediocre.
Very cool. If you could only watch one FCS team for the rest of the season based solely on what you saw in week 0, who would it be, says Kyler Elliott. I'm going to take Tarleton there because for me, I want to see them on every single scale. I want to see them against FBS Army, no matter what that competition looks like. I want to see them versus the worst on their schedule. I want to see them against Central Arkansas, who's kind of like maybe has some name recognition. I want to see exactly what they look like if we think they're going to stack up against what would be considered the big boys down later in the season. Jamie, if you could only watch one, what do you think?
I'll just pick a different team and say UC Davis. I want to see how they develop through the year.
Yeah.
I probably looks like I just took the Revs pick.
I want to watch the quarterback.
I want to watch how they develop. I want to see how Caden Pittis develop. Like I said earlier, those stats could have started a nice potential Jerry Rice campaign for him. But yeah, that out of the week 0 teams, that would be the one I'm most interested in.
Don't worry, Rev's answer is now Mercer because he's out of options.
It's not going to be Mercer. Mine might surprise you a little bit, but
the Mud Dog says Taco King.
No, I want to watch Southern. I want to see if Southern can recover from that game against North Carolina Central. I want to see if Cameron can turn into an effective quarterback because he has the wheels. That run he had for a touchdown was insane. He just couldn't move the ball through the air, and their line, like I said, their D line got pushed around. So I'm interested to see what could happen because I would like to see the SWAC West be a more competitive division of football because it's really not at the moment. And so I would sit back and watch Southern to see what they can do.
Amazing jerseys there too. Lawrence doesn't like them. I love them. All right, Rev, these are the 5 questions that you just ripped off at the end. And I love it. I want everyone who's watching now and who listens to this podcast this week to know that if you're on FCS Gold, especially because your questions are guaranteed to be answered, they're always going to be quick hits, but you can literally ask us anything and we will answer them. So I love these off the wall.
We're better than the Reddit AMA because we'll actually answer them honestly.
Yeah, all of them. What is your go-to sushi order? Says the Rev. And Allison and I love spicy crab roll. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Spicy crab roll for sure. I'm going to make you happy here, Rev. When I first
did you get it at Chili's or
here? I'm going down this line. You ready? When I first ate sushi and I said I loved it, for probably 2-3 years, I only got California rolls, which is not sushi at all. But then I eventually expanded and found out it's good. Other stuff is good too. So there you go. That's JB. Are you a sushi guy?
Absolutely not. Hate it.
No.
That's not my thing. I'm not a massive seafood fan. I really only eat it when I go to the beach and I don't eat seafood. I'd rather have it cooked and all that. So I'm not a sushi or sashimi or anything like that.
What do you got?
So actually, I'm not a big sushi eater. Either my wife is. She loves sushi. I'd rather go in and get some yakisoba or some other stuff. I do like sashimi though. But whenever I've had sushi, anything that's spicy, like a spicy, crab roll or spicy tuna roll, something like that, anything like that, something that's got some kick to it, I do like. But for the most part, if we go into a Japanese place and she gets sushi, I'm looking at something else, something with a little more oomph to it as a meal.
Very cool. All right, here you go, Rev. You asked, can you name all the state capitals in less than 1 minute? I actually can. You guys ready for this?
Oh, I was going to say, I wonder if I could do it.
Actually do this. I can
All
actually
right,
do it.
I'm going to tell you when to go, Matt, and we're going to see.
Go.
Oh.
I'm ready. Just ready to put the timer. I'll be ready to go.
I think you've got it. Yeah, I was actually gonna that's good. I don't know if I speak fast enough to do it in a minute, but I could get them all.
This is why you got to watch on YouTube, not just listen to audio, folks. I simply pulled up ChatGPT and I was ready to roll. I was ready to let it go. I couldn't do that off my brain. First concert and worst concert. Oh man. Last couple questions coming up here. Jamie, what is your first concert and the worst concert you ever been to?
First concert, I think, was Brooks and Dunn, maybe? Early 90s, maybe Brooks and Dunn. Worst concert, I've gotten rained on a few times. So probably one of those with some random ass band. We have this play called Innsbruck here that I used to go to quite a bit, and there was a time where I went like 5 times in a row, got rained on. So it had to be one of those. I can't remember which one. I always like to shock people. I'll tell them that I have seen Taylor Swift in concert.
Dude, lucky.
She was actually like 17 or 18 and opening for Rascal Flatts when I took my wife to like 13.
Oh, that's right. I remember that story.
But hey, I still saw Taylor Swift perform before she was big time, and you could tell at that time that she was going to be a really good performer. Not that I'm a Swiftie or anything, but very talented performer. Seems like a kind soul, so I'm not going to bash Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she's pretty legit. Worst concert is the Red Suit Jump
Jumpsuit Apparatus.
Yeah, they came and played a dive bar in Fargo in like 2014. And I almost got kicked out because I was crowd surfing because there was only 30 people there. And apparently they didn't like it. The bar was okay with it, but they were upset. So they didn't like that I was crowd surfing them. First concert, this is a true story. I get brought to the Fargo Dome by my music teacher, Trisha Laban. She was great. She brought the whole class. I was in 8th grade. There was a girl, Tessa. I was trying to hit on her the whole time. I was unsuccessful. Totally focused on this and that. And then I noticed halfway through the concert, I was just like, is this guy blind and playing the piano? And yes, I, with no amount of respect, in my first concert in 8th grade ever, legitimately in the Fargo Dome, free from my school, saw Ray Charles and had no clue of the legacy, the history, and everything about him until the movie came out. And to this day, it's one of my biggest regrets as a huge fan of music and now history, and the impact he had on society and African Americans and Black people in this country and everything. My disrespectful 8th grade ass did nothing in terms of paying attention because I was interested in a girl in the stands. But he was my first concert, and it was an absolute honor.
That's the most Matthew Frazee.
Yeah, I was going to say there.
That was it. Yep. So Ray Charles, and he was very good for the last couple of songs I paid attention to.
Well, we might as well go around table and say what's your best.
Oh gosh, I don't even. Oh my goodness, I've seen so many. Oh, holy cow! That's Rev. What's your worst concert? Because oh boy.
Let's see. First concert I ever went to was Reba McEntire at the Texas State Fair, which was pretty awesome.
I think Reba was with Brooks and Dunn on my first concert.
Yeah. Worst concert was Korn. Korn sucked live. They were so bad. I saw them at a festival. Well, it was like a Halloween show, and it was Trust Company, Disturbed, and Korn. And Disturbed came out dressed up as Korn because it was Halloween, and played blind and played it better than Korn did. And then the rest of the Korn set was just awful. Like, I walked out before I got to the end of it. I was like, this is just absolute garbage. So
lead singer of Disturbed is phenomenal.
Yeah. Performed well.
Disturbed was amazing, like absolutely amazing, but Korn was just terrible.
Jamie, I'm going to add best concert for the next episode because I'm going to need a week.
Okay, I'll save mine for the next episode.
I might have been Ray Charles if I wasn't such a prick in 8th grade. Jeepers.
Since I won't be on, mine's Audioslave. Audioslave was probably the best band I've ever seen live.
It's a good band.
Yeah.
Last one here. Rev asked us the worst stadium you have ever been to in any sport. I love my Dallas Cowboys, but I was right at the end of the time before they blew it up. I went to Cowboys Stadium for the first time, and boy, that thing was rough. There was rust on the ground, and the concrete was bad, and yeah, it was just not great. The hole in the ceiling, which let just a little bit of rain in. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was in rough shape. That's probably the worst true stadium I've been to. Mm-hmm. What do you got there, Jamie?
RFK was pretty bad. But obviously nothing holds a candle to how bad of a dump the Oakland Coliseum is and was. Bad. Veterans Stadium kind of sucked too, but it was, the ambiance there is better. Oakland Coliseum, man, was that bad. Mm-hmm. So bad.
Rev, what's the worst place you've been, buddy?
Oakland Coliseum is up there. Veterans Stadium is up there. The Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati was up there. All those cookie cutter stadiums.
The cookie cutters, yeah.
Three Rivers was another one like that, yeah. But Matt, I will tell you the story. I worked for the Dallas Cowboys. I sold T-shirts, and I had a stand. And at the Thanksgiving game, the year that Creed played the halftime show,
No way.
We were miserable because the weather sucked. Creed did come by. The guitar player from Creed did come by and look at shirts. So it was actually really amusing. But that stadium was such a dump. We had a bathroom basically explode, and everything that was in the bathroom rushed out through the concourse and onto our stand.
That happens when Brian goes to the bathroom at the Airbnb every year.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's why do you think it doesn't faze me anymore? Because I was already used to that from that. But yeah, that stadium, as much as I love Dallas Cowboys, needed to be torn down. And also one other stadium that's absolute crap is Bauer Stadium in Huntsville, Texas.
He could not let this go by without taking a shot.
Couldn't help himself. He had to do it.
So it's Homer Bryce, though. I'll say my own stadium is not a good one either. So there, before people say I just hate Sam Houston, which I do, but I also hate everybody else. But my home stadium is a dump too. So, but it's getting rebuilt, which is a good thing.
It's getting rebuilt. That's okay.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we've rebuilt this podcast pretty well 3 episodes in. We, bust the rust off in that first one. Last preseason episode went great. And now after week 0, that was pretty good. And you're pretty lucky to have the Rev and some of these great live viewers join us. We're sad Kyler wasn't with us, but this was a good opportunity to get back on the horn, check out some great week 0 games, and just really be excited for what's coming up. I think the FCS, while we might see similar results, I think we're going to see, Kevin kind of said it best, the best part of the season is not who just wins the championship, who gets close. There's so many rivalry games. There's so many impactful games and things that matter to the players and the coaches and fans. There's just going to be so many moments, and I'm excited to see them. And I guess, Rev, we'll give you the final floor here before we roll on out, unless Jamie has any shameless plugs as we roll into week 1, my man.
Yeah, no, my reminder, and I'm sure y'all are doing this, but make sure you like and follow all the FCS media, whether it is the big ones at Hero Sports or Zach McKinnell, even down to the local regional guy of a team you don't watch, like, maybe the East Tennessee State guys or SoCon John and his stuff, like HBCU Nightly. There's all this great media at the FCS level. And a lot of the folks doing it aren't necessarily doing it as their job. They're doing it out of love. So make sure you go and like and support their stuff. And I'll give a quick shout out because I'm wearing them. A little shout out to Jackrabbit Illustrated guys and the Podfather. So
yeah, and just to add on to that, Rev, before y'all close it out, make sure you do listen to and follow Kevin and Stone. They're doing another Alex Lemons Stand is a great charity that we've been able to be involved in to support them. They're going for $100,000 this year. Always get some good information from those 2 guys, and I got to give Stone his due again. He did call Nichols with the win, so you will learn stuff if you listen to those guys, and they do some good interviews. They got some good information. Just don't bash the SoCon unless you really want to argue.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
and I guess I'll throw everybody knows it, but I don't think there's anybody better than Zach McKinnell on the voice of the FCS.
Well, he's everywhere, so
he's everywhere.
He's legitimately the best. He's better than us. He's better than Craig. He's better than Sanders. He's better than everybody. Everyone else has some great things about him, but Zach McKinnell is the GOAT, the Blue Bloods. If you don't listen to him, talk about a beautiful voice that will dissect and give you everything. So he's a great one to follow.
He's also the most humble person on the planet too.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah,
phenomenal person, phenomenal guy.
Yeah.
Well, we won't be humble on the way out. We are proud of what we have here because it brings fans together, and we hope that we can continue to do that for the rest of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the FCS Fans Nation podcast. For the Rev, Jamie Williams, and Matt Frazee, we hope you enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your week 1. We are on every single Sunday now. Moving forward, you'll get us every single week. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace. Boom.
We do it every year. It's like, oh, this team got beat here, so they didn't deserve XYZ.
We deserve to be ranked higher, and we want some respect.
I would love to antagonize people and egg some people on and see what kind of chaos we can have in the stands.